Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Internal Alchemy podcast. Simba is being the funny guy behind the scenes, so we are all happy and chirpy today. We're
Doing my
doing,
best, doing my best.
yeah, he's delivering, to say the least. So my name is Sarah, and this is my funny husband, Simba.
Simba.
Together we have a brand called Living with the Spirit, and individually I have my personal brand, Sarah Marie and Simba, and who is hosting this phenomenal podcast, Internal Alchemy with Simba.
Internal alchemy.
So today we are starting a new chapter. We are becoming the students of our own teachings. We are going back to our DNA. We are really living the foundations. And as we are experiencing this for ourselves, we are also sharing it online. And it's the base and the foundation and the creation of some of our most valuable products. So we are multidimensionally tying it everything together, and we're going deep into how to actually practically live the lifestyle. Simba and I have been hosting very deep retreats for many years with a lot of people passing through. And the thing has always been how to implement all of this phenomenal information into my own life. So we're going to practice what we preach. That has always been our trademark. So now, when we have been going through a lot of changes, a lot of transformation during the past 2, 3 years, and we are landing with the boots on the ground, and how do we build from here? Yeah, we go back to the roots. We do everything that we tell our clients to do. So we have never documented this properly, and now it's time to do that. So for the next 12 months, Simba and I are committing to sharing our lifestyles and breaking it down and sharing it a bit online, and yeah, walking you guys through it as we do it. And first and foremost, the first topic is, so I'm calling it holy water and hydration. So instead of calling it water and hydration, it's holy water and hydration, because the water is carrying such profound wisdom, energy. It's the core foundation of this planet. It's the core foundation of our bodies. It's when people are referring to what element was Jesus, they say he was water. It's holy water. So we have to begin with water. So today we're going to go through water, the energy of the element of water. We're going to dive deeper into how this is reflected in the body, and then what happens in the body when the water is not there, and whatever what happens. And then the solution, internal alchemy. It's the result of our 10 years together, our deep dive. Our hermit mode has come to an end, and it's time to share the wisdom of our, we've been excluding ourselves from society for almost a decade, and it's time to actually show for something. So it's time to start to share what we have learned and what we have experienced, because we have lived this by for ourselves all of these years. So it's also our direct experience. And then we're going to share a little bit. Okay, if you want to work with us, how can you do that, and how can you go deeper with us? And we're starting to create and really leave the breadcrumbs and create a step-by-step process for people to actually do something, because people are having such amazing results, and we haven't yet been able to deliver the lifestyle in a structured way. Here it is.
Sign
Simba.
me up.
Hey.
Sounds great.
So Simba has the best solution for this setup. It's allowed me to talk, then he talks, then I talk, and then we're done.
Sarah was giving this big brief and showing me with she had a notepad and showing me all different things. And I was kind of paying attention, but probably not fully as I should have been. And then she told me just before we press record, what are we gonna do? You're gonna talk, then I'm gonna talk, then you're gonna talk. so so
And
that's
then we're done. And I'm like, wow, that's so brilliant. Because if he only does that, everything's going to be
I'm
fine.
gonna stay on topic today because I can go down rabbit holes and
Yes.
things when I
So,
speak. So prompt me, please. What do you want in
no,
terms
so
of water?
this is also something that we are that we that Sim no that Simba has also agreed to do, is that we're going to showcase a little bit more about our dynamic and talk a little bit about how, because we have been, we've been through it. I'm proud of our marriage. This is
Yeah,
say
yeah, me too, me too.
I'm very proud of our marriage, and so it's also time for us to start to share about the, what we've been through and how we solved it and what we do. And now the collaboration can finally begin after 9 years.
Yay. Holy water.
Holy water. Okay, so we're going to dive in the energy and the element of water. So, Simba, how would you describe the energy and the element of water? So the energy of the element and the element itself of water from just your integrated perspective. Take it away.
So I mean, I think it's the only substance, as far as I can remember, that really exists in three forms. You have a gas form of it, you have a liquid form of it, and you have a denser form when it kind of becomes ice, depending on the temperature. So it has the ability to morph and kind of exist everywhere in our living habitats, wherever we're at in the world. Even in deserts, but it's deep in the ground in desert, right? And it comes every now and then when it rains. But one of the main things that I really learned when it comes to water is that it's so closely related to our health. And depending on the literature you read about anatomy, people will say, or the literature will say, we're 60 to 80% water. I think we're declining in that amount of water due to the lifestyle, how we live, the toxins we get on our skin, what we eat, what we're exposed to, what happens in nature. And that can lead to a lot of health related conditions. So, pain, injuries, conditions are usually connected to the level of hydration you have. And I speak about this from my own point of view because as I started to properly rehydrate my body, a lot of the issues that I had, aches, pain, and things going on in my body started to dissipate. And that is because the lymphatic system, the main fluid system, one of the main fluid system in the body, is designed to get rid of all of the toxins. So your cells need to pee and poo. And the lymphatic system is what kind of filters through the kidneys. And then you can pee it out, you can poop it out, you can sweat it out, or you can exhale it out, right? Those are the elimination pathways. So when you're dehydrated, nothing really moves the way it should in the body, right? Everything needs hydration, everything kind of needs oxygen. So oxygen travels through the blood in your body. So if you don't have enough liquid, then it's like the blood is not even moving in your body. And you can literally feel that. If you ever had an IV, if you got sick and you had like whatever you come in, you can literally feel in the body like, oh, there's a pressure release and you just feel like rejuvenated. It's like, oh my God, this is what I was looking for. So hydration is so important to the point where, like I would probably start there with most people when they have to have a problem or a health related condition. Like, how's your sleep and how's your hydration? Because when you start to kind of connect those two and work with those two, your health starts to change dramatically. Water itself has the ability to remember things. So it has the ability to remember whatever it has been in contact with. And there's a lot of ways that this has been proven scientifically, empirically, or, in different ways. But It has the ability to remember things, and it also has the ability to display what is being done to it. So if you play a certain frequency close to water, you will see the ripples will be different. If you look at a frog sitting on a leaf in a pond and it makes the sound, you see the rings. So you can literally see in water what happens, what we can't see in the air. So water really has an ability to change with what we put into it. The words, the frequency, how we activate it, if it's toxins in it, if it's pure. So water is kind of what makes woo woo not woo woo. Water is when you can start to look at it and you go, wow, okay, I can actually see what happens when I do a practice that is natural or energetical bound. And I think that's why, when we say holy water, water being blessed is that there's a certain frequency, a chant, an intention that is put into this water, and it can retain that memory and you can do something with it. So whenever you start to affect water in different ways, when it comes into your body, it will start to send certain information into your body. And this is something that's been known for thousands of years. That's why you have tea. You infuse leaves, you infuse different things into it. And with a certain temperature, whatever you infuse into it opens up and it becomes more readily available, accessible. You program the water with certain information, and then you bring it into your body, and it has certain benefits or qualities that affects you. So there's many ways you can kind of look at water and what it actually does to your body. But I found that I've tried all of these different ones, and I can really feel that things are working very differently depending on the intention and how you treat the water that goes into your body and your health.
This is super interesting. So now I got to speak to a lot of things here.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So the first thing that happens was, did you see that I started to move? My body started to move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's happening is that your transmission is activating my water.
Mm-hmm.
And because of my practice and the ones who are already following me, who knows that my spinal that I work with opening up the spine. So that is how I work with internal alchemy, is that I open up the body so that the kundalini, the life force, and the sexual energy can travel along the spine. And that's what I teach in my 108 days of internal alchemy, free on YouTube. So if you're like, oh my God, I want to check that out. So I give that away. It's a day by day process. And what happens is that we activate the spinal flow. So that was my spinal flow. And Simba's gift is that he is like a sacral generator of life force. So you activate life force in other people with your transmission. So you just activated my life force with the transmission to the water in my body. So it started to move and I allowed it. So that's probably what's going to happen during our sessions. I sit on the floor and I'm going to move because this is a transmission for me too, because I'm a student of Simba and his internal alchemy. I'm a living representation and the embodiment of the internal alchemy, of the result of internal alchemy. So this format that we are creating will also be a part of the students' teachings. This is part of the teachings. So this is just a part of it that's for free. This is equally powerful as anything else that we do. So I invite you to sit on the floor as you consume this kind of content and allow yourself to have a moment of internal alchemy together with us as we share our lifestyle. So this is an invitation as a practice to everyone who is watching. And if you don't know yet how to do it, head over to YouTube and learn over there. So that was the first thing. The other one I didn't write. So let's see if I can remember that. The transmission of water. Where did you end with your transmission?
Not sure. It kind of comes up and goes out. I think I ended something in terms of dehydration is really what I found. That's where I start with people. Dehydration and lack of sleep is kind of one of the main factors for probably half of the problems that people present themselves to
Yeah,
me when it comes to pain or injuries or recovering from something.
yeah,
Because if you don't have enough fluids, I mean, if you have a fluid system that's supposed to release all the toxins, you have another fluid system, blood vessels, that's supposed to deliver oxygen energy to every part of your body. If you are depleted on fluid in your body, then it's going to be hard. Like you don't really have a carrier to carry all of that around your body.
mm.
So dehydration is a real thing. I would
Yeah,
say you look at something like headache, right? I think a lot of headaches that people have today are just dehydration or pressure from unexpressed emotion and tension. So the energy just gets stuck in the head and it doesn't move. Um, if you look at something like Qigong or Tai Chi, right? If you look at we have some of it here in Thailand, but I guess they have more in China. Like if you go to parks, we have in Sweden too. In the morning, everyone's doing qigong, right? Before everyone does qigong, they always move their body, right? Because when you're moving your joints, you're pushing the joint fluid back and forward into the system, right? So the joint fluid needs motion to be secreted. So when you're moving your joints, you're creating circulation of the fluid of your joints, which leads to less arthritis or these things. I mean, I'm not saying as a medical claim, I'm just saying that's what happens when you move your body in a healthy way. Often, the chances of predisposition of having any of these things uh, dramatically goes down because the fluids are moving and keeping everything nice and smooth. If you look at something like arthritis, what is it? It gets dry, underjuiced, and it starts to grind on the bones, on the cartilage, on the joints, on all of these things. So if you keep a nice, moisty, muscle strong, and you keep on moving your body throughout life and keep it hydrated, it stays nice, loose, and flexible. And you have something called the cerebral spinal fluid. It's a fluid from your brain and within your spine that goes up and down. Now, I've heard a lot of different things, but there's supposedly a cycle that goes from your head all the way down to your spine and then all the way up again. That takes about 28 days. And it's connected to what they call the Kundalini awakening or rising, that it takes a few days for the essence of this fluid to come up and down. But inside of this fluid, you have a neurotransmitter sending information, you have nutrients, you have a lot of information that's supposed to go and flow freely through your body. There's a lot of spiritual practices in all religion and energetical practices that talks about this fluid and how essential it is for a life force to stay healthy. In fact, there's an old Chinese proverb that says, you are as healthy as your spine is flexible, or you're as young as your spine is flexible. And that has to do with hydration. Because when you start to move something, when you keep it moving in a nice, healthy way, and you stay hydrated with your lifestyle and what you put into yourself and how you recover your body, you're keeping a momentum going. It's really when you start to become stiff, right? And you try to think your way out of it, that you increased activity here, but there's not really a connection to, like, we don't really do anything with it. We sit and think about something, but we don't do anything. We don't really move the energy. So that's why I'm so body based in my practices. That's what my father taught me since I was a kid. It was like, okay, you're stressed, do something about it. Like, don't just like sit and stress yourself out in your head. Move your body, talk about it, get it out of your system, let your body kind of move it. And the way it does that is usually through the fluids, right? You exhale, you sweat, or you kind of get something going. So you get all the cortisols and all of those stress hormones. They're moving through your system. And when you do it long enough, when you have a lifestyle that kind of naturally moves it through your system, you don't have a surplus of stress hormones in your body. So that's how we can work with hydration when it comes to stress or physical health or mental, emotional health as well. Um, and the last thing I want to say, it just makes it also very holistic. Because if you look at something like the fascia, for instance, the fascia, the system that the organ that holds everything together in the body, uh, it's also 60 to 80%, or even more, maybe 80, 90% fluid based. So everything that holds the body together, keeps it healthy and wholesome, is fluid based water. So the water and how you program it and how you cultivate it and how you move it in your body becomes very relevant. And if you're looking at it like with 60 to 80% water, all of our systems are mostly water. Water has the ability to remember things. You can program it, you can make it holy. What can you then actually do with your own body? So I think if anything, that's what I'm thinking when I think about water. It's like it really just gets us out of our head, and like you don't have to believe what I'm saying. You just try it out and see what happens. And you're most likely going to feel a difference. How far that goes, I don't know. But it, I
No,
have
but that's
yet to
that's
meet
the,
anyone that hasn't felt the difference. And then don't take my words. Do whatever you want with it, but
exactly.
try it out. Like it's free. It's there. Just move your body.
So there's so many things. So this is so as we are coming back to our own lifestyle, this is why we will start with our own hydration. So now we are just sharing the theory. Now we are going to actually apply it on ourselves for this, I mean, for this year, we're going to really focus on our lifestyle. And the first month is about hydration. So it's about what we begin to implement for the full year. The first thing is the hydration, and then we are going to talk about that and showcase and whatever. So that's the fun part. Like, this is what we know about it, and we are going to experience it. And when you started to say that we are now going to experience, my whole body just started to giggle, like
Yeah.
like, and it's the water that is moving the
Yeah.
vibration, that is the water that is moving the energies. So when I say that I want to be, so my, I realize my coach is like, why are you here? Like, what is it that you do? Like, what is your, and I keep saying about what I offer to other people. And then I realize, like, no, it's about my core. You're here to be a teacher. I'm here to, for the experience. I'm going to experience living fully human and fully divine. And what is fully divine? Yes, that is when God consciousness, God frequency can move freely through the water inside my body. That is my experience put into words, that you were describing from another angle. You are putting into words what I'm experiencing in my body. That, and you can notice that when I open my body up, what is it that I start to do? I start to move, I start to
Yeah.
dance, I start to move freely. It's the Kundalini energy that is just, it's just moving through the water in my body, as because you have to clear out the the water in the body. That is the work. And on
Mm-hmm.
an energetic and emotional level, the water represents the fear. And here's where I bring in Jesus again, because what is the Bible's main message? What is the Jesus's message? Walk with no fear. That means you have to have clear water in your body. What does Jesus do when he walks? He clears the water. There's just something there. That's just how I feel it and how I experience it. And that is for me the bridge between the body, the water, and God and Jesus. So this is why we begin here. That's what I
Yeah.
feel like. For me, it's has, because I'm an alchemist and I work with energy. I work with internal alchemy. I'm really good at that. But my gift is the energy. So I just feel the energy of what we are doing. Is that is the feeling that is arising. And that is why my focus this month is fear, the energy of fear,
Mm,
because that is the the opposite of if abundance is what we want, then it's the fear that we need to clear. So when you clear the water, abundance is naturally given.
mm,
So that is why, because I'm doing the shadow work, I am the one who is walking into the dark with a torch and says, just let's go. Like face your fears is like, that is my motto. And that is what I'm, that's what I've been doing. You know that I'm fearless in that sense. I just walk into the fire. So I'm just in there, the torch, and the fire is an illusion and I'm here to prove it. That's like my main energetic goal for the month, because fear is an absolute solution. So my first workshop in because this is all part of the wellspring magic. That's why my first workshop for the year is on the fear.
I think that's great. And I mean, if you look at traditional Chinese medicine, fear is connected to the bladder and the kidneys. And the kidneys is the main filtrating organ for the lymphatic system. That's where all your fluids in your body gets filtrated. So it's a good starting point, right? Your kidneys are like batteries in your body, right? They really hold the underlying pressure in your blood vessels, usually connected to the diastolic, the lower blood pressure, and the systolic, the upper blood pressure, is connected to the adrenals, which are two brains releasing adrenaline on top of the kidneys. So it's really a yin and yang you can look at in terms of how to work with the different organs, like a plus and a minus pole. I think a main thing that you mentioned with water also is when people start to get into their body. Usually I say you can go into any system, right? The body doesn't say this is a pinky finger. The body says this is a body. Like in the body's own language, it doesn't differentiate from the different body parts. Your mind does. That's how we can move and feel the coordination and so on. But the body looks at itself as a unit. So what I notice when people do, for instance, a lot of fascia movements is that you get pressure and you get fluids moving in your body. And that's when it usually starts to, people are usually starting to display different emotions, different mindsets. The alchemy part of it, that's a big part of it, that you're actually going from thinking, churning the wheels in your brain, to moving, dancing, singing, expression, being playful. I notice in class when everyone comes in, they're like, yes, yes, we kind of almost like programmed to be in school and be a good student. And we do a few movements, and then people start to yawn, they relax, they crack some jokes, they start to dance, they start to explore the body, because now I'm moving the fluid, I'm moving the energy in my body, but not necessarily always from a conscious or a voluntary point of view. I'm listening to the body wisdom too. You have an intellectual wisdom, that's great, the logical side. I think, I make plans, strategize, business plan, this mathematics, logic, structure. And then you have a body wisdom, gut feeling, sensations, intuition is very co-connected to that. So it's not that we're bad at connecting to our body. It's just that we're primed to working with our intellect, and our body connection might be here. So when you bring the body connection up to the same level as the intellectual capacity, now we're balanced. And that's when you start to see people relax a little bit more and feel more open to ask someone a question, or they feel more open to invite and share a bit of themselves. And I think that's really from safety. When I start to feel safe in myself, I emanate that to other people. And just by them being in my presence, they can start to feel what I feel without me doing anything or saying anything. And that is definitely energy work, it's nervous system, it's plasma from fascia going from body to body. But that's one of the aspects of looking at water. Like I said in the beginning, it's fluid, it's gas, and it's in hard form, right? You can osmotically kind of share who you are with your frequency inside of you, and other people will feel it however you want to see it. Mirror neurons in the nerve system that you feel what someone else feels, because we're connected as mammals, as pack animals for survival. But when you start to look at water and your own health in that regard, then the work you're doing yourself is not selfish. It's actually the greatest gift you can give to others, right? That when you take great care of yourself, when you start to feel good, people are going to feel good being in your presence, and they want to be feeling better. Most people do when they start to feel good, and they're like, oh my God, this is so good. And many times they want to become a practitioner and share it. And that's when people come into my programs and I teach them, okay, this is how you can share it for others, professionally or just for your loved ones or your friends or your colleagues or whatever you want to do with it. But it really starts by moving your own fluids, your own water. And from there, you start to affect that out to others, right? Like imagine when you're in a nightclub, right? I'm not saying that's the healthiest thing always, but I'm saying imagine you're there. You're moving, you're bouncing your fluids because your lymphatic system has pumps, but they're not automatic like the heart pumping. So you manually have to move. So you're moving your waters, you're all hearing the same music, you're sweating, your pheromones, like all of the hormones are coming out of you. We're bathing in the same kind of frequency through the waters and through the frequency that comes from the music and whatever liquid we might have or substance we have inside of us, right? But we're affecting each other with the water, so we can do that in many different ways. So I think learning about that, hydration, how water affects us, and I don't know how deep we want to go. There is science that the water that is on Earth is not from Earth, that it comes from asteroids out in cosmos, that the water on Earth is older than actual planets. And if water has the ability to remember things and it's been all around space, then the capacity to work with water and the memory of it potentially is infinite. So therefore, I think that is a beginning of a journey, whatever that means for you. Maybe you just want to feel better. Maybe you want to explore consciousness, awareness. What am I able to do? What can I share?
That would be me.
Yeah, yeah. That's up to each and everyone. I don't have an agenda with it. I just
I'm
say
Monica
when you
now.
get
Me,
there.
me, 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 me. That's me, me,
All
me,
right.
me,
Good,
me.
good, good. That's great. It's just curiosity basically, and it's not like to go against any dogma or anything like that. It's just just explore it, figure it out for yourself. I'm all about that. I'm not about filling anyone's head with ideas. I'm about make the practice your own and see what happens. And if it challenges your belief system, I just invite you to be courageous enough to kind of look at that. Maybe it's an outdated belief system, and apply what feels good for you, that suits you, that's healthy for you and the people in your environment. Doesn't matter, right? Like no one's here to say that you're right or wrong. If you do it, that's healthy for you, it's healthy for others, you take care of your responsibilities, and why shouldn't you be who you are? And that's what I think water does, right? You have the ability to shift, you have the ability to mold. If you look at fascia molds of how you're doing, how you're moving, how you're sitting down, standing up, or whatever you're doing. So you're literally shaping your body with the way you shape the water in your body. So there's lots to be said about how to work with the fluids, but I think the way to start is really proper hydration. Um, that looks very differently. I mean, I will share that in the 30 days program, but proper hydration, proper nutrition, and really movement, taking care of yourself and sleep. Go ahead.
You're going too fast.
I know.
We're gonna back it up a little.
Go ahead.
So I was just watching. So this is beautiful because I'm watching how our roles, and this is what we're going to talk about when we go into the relationship stuff that we're going to talk about on our Instagram lives that we are going to start with, or if we're going to do, yeah, we're going to start talking about that in some shape or form. Anyway, because I can watch how I take the, so you're taking the masculine role in the 3D and in all the things, like, so I can really be in my creative. That is like super, that's really establishing. And now when we are starting to collaborate fully from our own brands instead of inside the same brand, there's a new dynamic happening. So you are really trusting the structure to me, where I notice, okay, so I'm the masculine structure in the content. So I'm just making sure that you can flow and be in your creative, um and just make sure so you don't have to think about those things. So you can just show up and be your creative, and I can just boop, 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 boop. So that's what I do. So we are reversing the roles here, which is super interesting. So we can go between the masculine and the feminine, both of us. So yeah, that was just a reflection that I wanted to and open up the conversation about the relationship, because here is where we will also take questions. We're going to reply to questions about our relationship. So because we have students that are already asking about, how did you guys move through this phase in your marriage? How did you guys move through this phase in your marriage? So we're going to start sharing those things. So we're opening. So this is a little pocket of opening up. Anyone who's watching, who's having relationship questions, send them to us and we're going to respond. Now we're taking it back to the kidneys. And because the kidneys comes with a friend that is not that is because the kidneys are so important that the friend that comes along becomes invisible. And this is the place that I've discovered that, like, when, like, my kidneys are fine. Like, why isn't the fear, like, where? I didn't look at the little friend. So we need to cover the importance of the kidneys, but we have to start shining light on the little friend and make that connection with the fear. So I want you to please describe who's the friend and how is that connected to fear, and what does that look like in real life? And that's
So
how.
I think your friend is bladder that you're talking about, right?
Mhm.
And bladder. So in quick summary, in traditional Chinese medicine, which is one of the main influences that I have, I always learn from a lot of different systems and apply them as they have worked for me and with the people I work with. And in traditional Chinese medicine, you have five main elements, and each elements have different groups of organs. And different groups of organs have what's called an upward going spiral of energy, which we usually call emotions, because the organs produces chemicals. Emotions are chemicals, thoughts are chemicals, sensation in the body is electric chemicals. And you have something called downward spiraling emotions, which we could call negative emotions or heavy emotions. So the group of organ is always working in its element and with trying to balance the positive and the negative, you could say. And when it comes to fear, that's the water element. It's connected to the kidneys and the bladder. And I think there's so much to say about the bladder that if we just look at what is the first connection with the bladder, right? Was learning how to control it, right? Not how to just pee whenever. But the way you've probably taught to do that, depending where you grew up, of course, in the world, many times is quite harsh or shame based or guilt based, or like the feeling you have done something wrong when you're actually learning how to control a body function as your body evolves. And we also taught that we need to hold it. Now you're in class, now you're sitting here, you can't just go and empty, you just can't go to the bathroom when you need to go. You need to wait until it's appropriate to go do. So I think many times we're taught to override the natural functions of the body for preparation into roles and responsibilities and how the society is structured today. And why I mentioned that whole backlog of introduction to it is because it can hold a lot of guilt, shame, but a lot of fear, a fear of doing something wrong. That's what I really see when I look at the bladder. It's like you do something wrong and you get exposed for doing that wrong. And you wet yourself. It's obvious. Everyone else can see it, right? So it's like kind of like an exposed fear of an exposed mistake. And we're kind of imprinted it many times from a young age. So it's learning how to really listening to the body again and noticing when I need to pee, I need to pee. Okay. Right. Sure. There's moments where you can't do that, like in an airplane, for instance. Like sometimes you need to sit down. There are moments where it makes sense that you can't do it, or you're in a met subway or in a train, or whatever the circumstances might be. But most of the times when it comes down to it, it's about really following the sensation of what the body's saying. Now I'm ready to let go of toxins. You look at an animal, doesn't have that. Animals running around. Oh, I need to poop. And then it continues its days, right? It's a natural way of things flowing in the body. So when we don't do that, when we start to override the natural functions, we start to build up charge, we start to build up energy, and we start to work against our own biology. And that creates a lot of inner turmoil many times. So I'm not saying go wet yourself. I'm just saying don't hold back on things you need to say, things you need to do. It's not about always having a tantrum and throw anything out to people, but it's also about the courage to actually listen and follow the natural flow of your body, especially when it comes to something like the bladder, because the shadow side of not doing that is that you start to build up a lot of charge in the area, a lot of tension, or even disconnection. So I'm a body worker, means I do massage, I do a lot of different kind of work to help bodies physically hands-on. And the area that I found in most people that are most disconnected, that they can't even feel or perceive, is usually between your belly button and your pubic bone, which is, just below here. And that's the area of the bladder. So there's lots to be said about the area. That's also where people have a lot of shame for the belly, a lot of stagnation happen in the area, a lot of cold patches. So there's lots to be said about in terms of what the bladder does in mind, body, emotions. But I think the main thing is learning how to naturally listen to the body and the flow of the body.
I wasn't meaning to interrupt you. I
No, no, go
realized
ahead, go ahead. That's
what it
fine.
looked like, but it was like I'm like that's me. Like I'm like I have this part of the belly that doesn't release, and I mean I've been in this I've been in this industry for so long now, and there was just this piece of the body, not piece of the puzzle, that just didn't it didn't make sense, and it wasn't addressed. And that's also the part of the lower dantian. It's the womb. It's a massive connector. So it's very, very well explained. I'm very grateful for that. So
Mm.
thank you. That was the bridge between the kidneys and the bladder and the fear. And I just want to jump in with a small connection with how this is so if we have these fears installed in the body that is connected to the control, if that is how we kind of begin our lives, and we are connected with fear and shame and guilt, then every time we do hold it, which we then do from from a wrong reinforcement, it's not from safety, relaxation, and like, I'm able to do this. It's reinforcing, it's literally reinforcing poverty consciousness, that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough. That it's like every time we do it, it reinforces that, because the bladder also is connected to the level of receiving, the fear and the energy of receiving, because it's about the nurture in the body. If we are giving the body what it's asking for on the functional levels, that's when the nurture is energetically interconnected. So it's like we're blocking nurture for ourselves. So it's when we override, like we don't sleep when we are tired, we don't eat when we are hungry, we don't go to the bathroom when we need. It's one of these pillars of nurture that is like it's a system, it's a functional thing. So we are
Yeah,
reinforcing fear on such a foundational level.
100%. And I mean, here's the thing, when you don't connect to an organ, when you don't fully connect to what's going on, or fully feel the body part, right? Or maybe you just tuck your stomach in because you don't want to look in a certain way aesthetically, you might be dissociating from that part in your body, right? Which means your mind and your body is not in contact with each other. You might lower the activity of the body, which means that it starts to become less, it starts to become atrophied, which means basically means it doesn't become larger, stronger, it becomes weaker. And if you look at something as incontinence, right, not being able to hold it in, it's a big, it's a big topic, but it's muscular, it's emotional, it's mental, and it's habitual. And I have not met a single individual yet that hasn't had some history around that area that has led to a disconnect. That means that we cannot control these functions. And I mean, there's so much to say about that because it holds the urine, the bladder holds the urine. So it's a water based element that actually lets go of what we don't need to hold onto anymore as well. And it's close to the genitals, so it's connected to those functions, the sexuality, and all of that energy. There's tons to be said in terms when it comes to the bladder and how to navigate it. Now, I don't remember really well where the bladder is connected to, but each organ and muscle share the same nerve connection. So sometimes in kinesiology, you can strengthen and you can muscle test an organ to see how the function of the health is doing in the organ. Like if you want to assess the organ and you don't want to do a blood test, or you can't do the iridology, or if you don't have any other assessment in kinesiology, which is a practice where you're testing the body for different things. One of the assessments is that you test the muscle function that goes on the same nerve branch from your brain down to the organ and the muscle. And then you can see the strength of that organ or how well that organ is doing. But also vice versa, you can strengthen the muscle because that means you will get signals sent to that organ. But I think one of the main things to really clear it is to connect with it. You do fascia on it, you breathe into it, you tremor into it, you do energy work, you calm down your nervous system so it's safe enough to feel what's there. You might have memories come up, you might not, you might feel things, but reintegrate it. The attachment theory, but in the body, that you reattach something, you're creating an intra attachment, you bring it back online and back into the rest of the body. It's almost like a soccer team, right? And someone is shy and don't want to play and they're standing on the side of the field and you're like, hey, come on back into the team, right? You're bringing it back in. And that's what we can do with internal alchemy, with the tremors, with the fascia, energy work, nervous system awareness, and breathing, because you can do it globally for the whole body, but you can also do it for specific body parts with body work, with your intention, with different exercises. And it also happens over time, right? It might be that you come and want to work with someone like me or Sarah for a certain reason, and you go deeper down the rabbit hole and you realize that was just a symptom. There's actually something else that's calling me. That this symptom was just a gateway for me to step into. So yeah, there was another thing you said as well that I also wanted to mention. Abundance. When you hear that word today, people think about money usually. I have an abundance. I am financially independent. I can do whatever I want to do. Abundance means an overflow of things. Abundance means abundance for me, energy, love, money, creativity, time, friendship, purpose. Abundance comes in all shape and form. But if you look at it traditionally, abundance came in form of rain, because that means your crops can grow and we can feed everyone. So many times when you look at, especially here in Thailand, a lot of the holidays are when it's close to moon and when there is close to rain. So there's also spiritual meaning when it comes to water and what water means in terms of a abundance that sustains life
Water
for
fight.
us, purifies, and it also purifies, right? Like it just clears everything. The air feels different when
Yeah.
you can smart to smell the soil and everything. It just purifies everything. So there's many ways to look at water and that we can learn from water. And that's really how I got into traditional Chinese medicine. I was like, well, I don't just want to look at it clinical. This is the molecule and H2O and all of that. It's like there's deeper layers of what does it actually do and how does it actually function in nature and for us, and what is the spirit, what is the quality of water, not just breaking it down into molecules and saying that's what this substance is. It will behave the way you behave towards it. That's usually what I say. So if you treat it like a substance, it is a substance. If you treat it like something sacred and you start to work with it like that, it's going to respond to you in a very different way. And that is one of the practices. That's why you can call it holy water, because it becomes holy if you treat it holy.
Mm. I mean, there's so much to say about that. This is phenomenal. It's like you're covering everything that I could ever want you to. This is what I've been wanting you to do for all these years. Like, if we could just press play on Simba and he can just start talking. And now finally, I have my music box that I have access to. So, uh,
Jukebox.
this is no, but I'm realizing that I'm in this is what I mean with the human potential that I'm after. I'm using internal alchemy to elevate my own potential. And because I'm also so this is how everything is divinely, just timed, is that I'm currently working through the fear in my bladder. So when you started talking about the connection and actually went down there and started talking, then whoa, I started feel my
Yeah,
energy
it
and
moves.
like, whoa. So then it starts to move. So this is like us doing it in real time, and this is me doing it in real time, and this is where our relationship also turns into student and teacher at this time, and because I come to you the same as everyone else does for healing, you know so we're probably gonna do some bladder talks, or work through the bladder, and maybe put that on video and see how it works, so we can showcase when.
Yeah, sure, sure.
And this is what we have been preparing for all these years, to kind of use our lifestyle and our relationship, and how we can, because there's also this myth, that, yeah, that you've been that I've been claiming, and you've been neglecting, what do you call it, saying no to, naying. is that the saying that you can't heal your own family and that you're too close and all of this. And I disagree. So this
It's
is
very hard, is I
yeah,
think
but
the
it's not
saying,
impossible.
because it's usually there's more. I mean, basically it comes from the world of therapy because they're talking about you want a therapeutic alliance. You want to be close, not too close, and you want to clear boundaries what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that can get messy when there's someone that's
Yes,
a
but it's
partner
not
or family
impossible.
and so on. It's not
Just
impossible.
it's just difficult.
It, it just
Difficult doesn't
requires
mean impossible. So then it doesn't.
some practical
I'm the
skills and
unruly
some
one.
practice.
I
Yeah.
just don't. I don't do impossible.
That no,
I
it's
refuse.
not impossible. Of course not. It's just
So then it's up to each and every one to choose. That is what I'm here to prove. Like it's up to you. You choose what you want to do, and that is where we come in as source creators and such.
yeah.
Now I'm
It's like those
like
old video games, right? You
yeah.
play easy and you're like, oh, I like this. And you go to normal difficulty and you're like, wow, okay. And then you go to hard and you're like, hey, I don't even get a chance, right? So when you just do something that's new, um, it becomes a little bit harder. But I'm going to quote one of my teachers then. He says, just break it down. If something is hard, complex, advanced, break it down into small portions and do that little portion until you're good at that. And then you do the next step and then the next step, and then it becomes easy because you've trained all the components to it. But most of the time, we look at something that's hard and then we're like, oh my God, I can't do that. I'm not that person, whatever. It's like, yeah, you're trying to do it all at once. Just do it step by step and it doesn't become that hard and then you can achieve it. And that's really the nervous system teaching. If I look from internal alchemy, the nervous system teaching allows you to slow down and focus on one part at a time so you can build a stable foundation. And then once you do that with your lifestyle over time, you build your mind and your body and spirit up. So now we can do the things we want to do, but it might take a little bit of time in the beginning. So that just calls for a bit of patience, a bit of devotion, a bit of yeah, just coming to a point where you want to make a change and choosing to do it.
Mm. Yep, that's how it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we're going to start wrapping this up. But we want to talk about the connection between internal alchemy and how to actually, so how does internal alchemy support this the clearing of the water if we want to turn our sewage acidic environment into holy living water? How does internal alchemy do that?
So the way it's worked best for me is a lot of different practices. And that's why I put those main practices together into the system. Breathing is one, because when you're breathing, you're working with your diaphragm. And your fascia connects to your diaphragm. It's like looking at a hubcap or a bicycle wheel. The spokes go into the center. And the same for the lymphatic system. This is a big pump for all the fluids in the body. So when you're breathing, you're literally pumping not just the diaphragm, but also the organs. You're squeezing. So you're literally pushing the fluids in and out by different ways of breathing. Working with the fascia, you're literally working with the fluids in your body and the pressure and breathing as well. The tremors, you're letting your body shake out and you're letting your body kind of self-correct without your conscious mind. And the energy work is really about where attention go, energy flows. So when you start to become aware of the circulation, the flow of energy in your body, you can also start to notice how you can start to manage it and you can shift it in different ways. Um, Quite simple, actually. It sounds very advanced sometimes, but
Yeah,
it is.
it's remarkable how effective it is. That's why I'm giving it away
Yeah,
the main teachings on YouTube because this
yeah,
information has to be free. This is
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
this is just. But I just want to say that the tremors is actually interesting. That yesterday I think in my 108 days. So it's a 20 30-minute practice every day. So it's a short practice where I teach the foundations of holding capacity in the body and moving through different states and learning to regulate from a very foundational level. And so I'm moving us through the different aspects of internal alchemy, and I'm starting to prepare people for the tremors. So I started to speak to the tremors. I think it was either this morning or yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually this morning. But what I said about the tremors is that it's almost like the body has a little tap that you can just open and you just pour out fear. It's like you don't have to talk about it. You don't need to know what it is. You don't need to do anything. And that's the brilliance, because the harder work is with the breath work and the fascia. So if you put in your yang a little bit in the work of digging in the muscles, in the fascia. So it's like the fascia work is like you twist and you kind of force it to come alive. You massage it open, and then you bring in the breath. So you bring in the oxygen. That's why the next episode is going to be about oxygen, because that oxygen is just pure life force for the body. So that it's like having like small soldiers sending in, like piercing through, sending life back to dead tissue. It's like that's the awakening process, and that's why it feels heavy. That's why we got to put in a little bit of work. That's where all the resistance comes from, because it's the actual CPR of the cells. So
Mm,
when we put in the work there, that's when the alchemy process starts. And that's where we have to, know how to build our capacity and know what is happening in the body. How can I express? How can I release the charge that you were talking about? So it's the fear, the charge from the fear inside of the body is starting to get released when we start to twist and turn and open, because we're sending in life force, and then the cells automatically starts to remove whatever doesn't belong, that the body didn't have the resources or the capacity, or there was too much fear. There was not enough safety in the body to do that, and that's the nervous system aspect of it. But when you kind of put your energy in there and start to move the energy, as you said, the tremors is the reward, because it just releases from it's an inbuilt system. So it activates through the brain stem, and the brain says release fear, release fear. And then the body starts to okay, releasing fear. And then the built-in system is like, oh, this is crazy, this is weird, this is wrong. But when you realize that it's the beginning of the dance. So when
mm,
you allow this, then the bigger movements start to come later on, and that it's the dance that comes from there. So it's the soul's way of saying, let's celebrate life instead of being fearful and contracting and withholding life. So that's what
mm,
stress and fear does. It contracts the whole life force, when the body just wants to jump and explode and dance and celebrate life for all its glory. So
mm,
I found that because you once said that excitement is just unregulated. Anxiety is just unrelated happiness. Can be or is only unregulated happiness. And I was like, that's the life force, is the happiness of life. It's the joy of being alive. That's what's pouring out of you. And the tremors is that life force, that is, it's like what's the movie when he's with the squirrel or something in ice,
Ice
and
Age.
ice age,
Yeah,
when he's like he's
stuck in
tremoring.
ice and is
Yes,
trying to
and
get
that's the
out of the
peace,
ice. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the disconnect. So when you look at that, that's like how you come to life. And then the ice, the freeze response around the tissue starts to melt, and you start to become free, and you start to move freely and walk freely. And that's when, you start to move freely through the world, because it's who you are. When water can run free through you, you are who you are. And, that's how God consciousness can move and speak and operate through you. And that's what internal alchemy does. And that's what I specialize in: open up the spine so this can happen, so that you can find your way to your gift. And that's how I found my way to my gift, because whatever is supposed to come out comes just through us. So anyway, this is what we're going to focus on from now on. This is what we're going to share and talk about. So obviously internal alchemy works very well, and a way for you to go deeper into this is to join our membership that is called the Wellspring, of course. So the Wellspring is two parts. There's one very masculine part and there's one very feminine part. So it's one that is a self-paced library that is, I think it's more than 80.
Yeah, it's probably more than that.
80 sessions of internal alchemy with both Simba and me, half with you, half with me. So we're calling it different things during all of these recordings, but what it is that we've realized, okay, it's all internal alchemy. So you have the ability to, in your own time, start to move the energy in your system. And that is how you start to activate the alchemy process in the body. And as a member of the Wellspring, you get access to all of these pre-recorded sessions, and they go through 12 different topics. So you start in the beginning. I mean, you can do it however you want, but there's a design, and you can begin and work through it. Simba has put in so much time and effort to every episode. There's a platform and you can go through it, and you put images from the years we've had together, and you put a lot of love in it, and I'm very impressed by that, because I don't have that patience. So I'm super very impressed.
It came from a student. She said it takes time to build something beautiful. I was like, that's a cue. And so I really spent a lot of time and wanted to do something with it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's so great. So as a member, you get access to all of those during the time of your membership. And we're going very deep into the body in those. So that's really the foundation. And that's basically the work that Simba and I are doing still every day. So it's what we do. I showed up for probably 80% of all of Simba's sessions for this year when we were recording them. So this is really literally what we do. And the other part is that we are hosting one more in-depth living workshop every month on the topic that we are doing. So this month it's hydration, the water and hydration. So Simba is hosting and it's all about the lifestyle. So there's one that is the internal alchemy foundations. That is the chop wood, carry water work that you have to show up for your body every day and change your lifestyle. If you do that, you will change your life. Period. We have 10 years of proof. And we are, showcasing the embodiment of ourselves now. We're stepping out of the no more hiding. Anyway, but that's the groundwork, just so you know what's what. Then the problem is, how do I implement this in my life? What does it actually look like? So we did a soft launch last month, and I did a workshop on the energy of receiving, where we begin with, the core foundations. And that's exactly what Simba was talking about, the connection to the body, and how am I nurturing myself? How am I allowing nurture in my life? If you're having money problems, this is where you begin, because it begins in the body, because you don't want to fix your money situation one time. You want to fix your money situation for your lifetime. You want it to be embodied. So if you want to embody that, then begin here, and we will get to the money part during this year, I promise. But you can't get the cheese before you go through the main.
Gotta do the work. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do the work.
Yeah,
That's where you begin. You chop wood, carry water. So, and then you get access to the workshops that we've already been doing. So we only did one. So, but we begin with the receiving and the nurture. So it was a powerful session. I could see the participants was like, okay, we set the tone here. Okay, so we're doing the real work. We're not sugarcoating anything. We're sharing what works. And we finally begin to give the fastest. So we are really into speed, both of us. He's rat, I'm snake.
embracing it.
Yes, it has to go smooth and it has to go fast, otherwise it's not good enough. And Simba knows my level of quality before I release something, and I'm very proud of what we're releasing. So
Yeah, that's
we
good.
have finally arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finally arrived. Okay, so so that's the living thing. So every month, Simba will do one in-depth workshop on the practicalities of hydration, and you're going to throw in nutrition. So this first month, so the month of August is about holy water, nutrition, and the hydration. And then my session is going to be on the shadow side of things, because we have to face our fears. So that's what we are looking into, fear as a concept. And yeah, we're going to break it down, because fear is an illusion. And once you start to realize that, so we're hitting darkness right at the core. We're taking down the biggest. Oh, we're taking down the biggest. We're going for the boss for the first in the first one. I'm taking on the fear.
Yeah, I mean,
This
to
is
just
I'm just gonna say this is the holy fire that is in me, because I'm pissed off. My body is pissed off because of being taught false things. The school was not good for me. I can just tell you. Yeah, that is probably what I'm processing
it's
at the
okay.
moment. Because
So good.
I was so afraid of school. That's the fear. That's the
Mm.
fear in my bladder.
Yeah.
I was afraid every day I went to school. Oh, I remember. You know what I did? I prayed,
Mm.
so I didn't have to go to school. It didn't work. I still had to go to school. Maybe that's where I lost my faith in God, because I had to go to
I don't
school.
think we ever lose anything, right? We don't feel the connection, or there is a disconnect to ourselves. But as soon as
Mhm.
you come back to yourself, everything we always long for or feel is lost is there. It's like no one's broken, no one's really lost. It's sometimes we're just not connected to that essence. And when that essence is not present, then that will shine through. Those are the glasses we look at ourselves and the world. So once we can start to kind of polish the glasses and maybe have a revaluation of your perspectives, and you
Mm.
get an experience of something else other than how we're viewing the world, or worldview and belief systems. I think that's when we come to alignment.
Yep.
I use healing because it's easy to say, but I don't really think it's healing is really just about being aligned. When you align, everything works. So when you misalign or out of balance, then we're looking to come back to balance. And sometimes, just like you had now, sometimes we have to realize the things and feel the emotions and go into them and allow ourselves to express them, to move through them. That could be part of the process. And that's why I always say it's good to have a container to do it. That you have a space where people don't think you lost it, or like, oh, why are you feeling so much into things? No, that someone can understand and hold space, and where you can just be allowed to be yourself as you're doing practices. And that became the whole core of the retreats, the trainings, and the wellspring that we're doing now, to create that community where people can explore it and access those parts. And I think the biggest part of the alignment that's missing in today's society is the witnessing. Because as you have a traumatic event or something is tough, you're probably witnessed in a certain way. So people probably thought something or said something to you about you didn't want to go to school, or all of those things. So when you express it and you're not witnessed or treated the same way, that goes back and you kind of go, but that experience shaped the way I look at things. But that wasn't really, like, you start to move a belief system and something that's very fundamentally deep in us, and we start to move it. And that's when a lot of other things and choices can feel a little bit, we don't know where we're going, what we're doing, are we getting results, or so on. And that's really where I like to have a container for people, because that's a very transformative phase, and we're very susceptible to other people's opinion,
Yeah.
and oh, you're not yourself. No, what does that mean? That means they have a version of you and you're not portraying that version to them. So for them, that means you're not yourself. But for you, that might mean that I'm closer to I ever been ever in my life. So I think the witnessing part is very important in terms of what you just share, um, to find alignment and to find one's way back to yourself.
I mean, this is absolute gold, and I think we're striking gold here. We're just touching on a gold mine, and I realized that what was the fear? What's the fear in my bladder? It's just the energy. It's like I'm literally like just sinking,
Yeah,
like
that's good. That's
it's
good.
like a release. So now I'm gonna. So we have to finish here. We were supposed to talk a little bit about your challenge, but I guess you need to do that in somewhere else. Because we have.
August 1st, 28 days, lifestyle challenge. I'll go live every day on Instagram, give some tips. You can just join for the tips on Instagram, or you can join Wellspring at the same time and have a lot of these practices where you can go really deep and change your lifestyle. So that is basically what I will be doing, as a way of, I'm going to go deeper into my own lifestyle and invite others in to do it.
So, yeah, you're going to see a lot of us online. So head over to our Instagrams, Internal Alchemy with Simba
Mm-hmm.
and Sarah Marie Spirit. So we're going to be tag teaming, and yeah, we're going to co-create a lot. Once a week, we will show up and talk about our relationship on Instagram. What else? If you want to join the Wellspring, it's $55 a month, but we sell it in 3, 6, or 12 months packages, and we're having crazy sales at the moment. So it's $111 for 3 months, 222 for 6 months, 444 for 4 months, for 12 months. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you can head and sign that up. And stay tuned for information about the dates for the workshop. So you can also drop in for only the workshops, the lifestyle workshops. Yeah, that's it. We gotta go.
Yep, I gotta go. Thank you so much.
So
Lovely.
much. We'll, yeah, see you next time.
See you next
This is
time.
great. Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.